board model to show you. Because not only do we have these, there we go, okay. So we have slides of cochlea. We also have a histology board model, which is right up here. Okay, so make sure you also take a look at this, just to kind of like show you how it's oriented. This would be like that. Okay, so we're looking at this structure specifically right here. Alright, so in general, you can break this up into 5 parts. There are 3 cavities and 2 dividers. Okay, so we're going to talk about those first. And then this larger divider here is where you actually hear. That's like the sound producing one. Okay? So first we have the scalas. The scalas are these big empty spaces. Okay? Then we have this membrane here, which is called the vestibular membrane. I point that out now because the scala next to the vestibular membrane is the scala vestibuli. Okay? So just kind of as a way to keep that one straight, the scala vestibuli is just the one by the vestibular membrane. Okay? The one in the middle is the scala media, and the other one is the scala tympani. I don't have something fun for that one, but it's just the other one. And then this structure here that splits the scala media and the scala tympani, this is called the organa corti. And as far as like a rough border for it, I always just kind of start the border where this vestibular membrane cuts into it, okay? So we'll just call this our back border. So this would be the organa corti right here. And that's where the magic happens. Thank you for laughing. All right. I'll take it. All right, so this is the organa corti. Because we have structures that we're going to be identifying on the organa corti, just note that if we point to it and ask for the organ, ask for the organa corti, or if we point somewhere where we haven't discussed an actual structure, okay? But we're not going to be pointing to a structure. For example, here we have the tectoral membrane. We wouldn't point to that and ask for the organa corti. That's very confusing. So we point to it either here, if we're asking for the organa corti and ask for the structure, or just kind of cut to the chase and call it the organ. All right, so as far as the things you'll need to know for this, we have the tectoral membrane. Like I said, that's this little piece right here, just this thin little membrane that sticks out. And that's what's going to help create sound, because that actually vibrates. So when sound hits your ear, it travels and past the inner ear and the ossicles that like are the inner ear bones that we talked about. And that stapes basically just like taps on one of the organs. That tap is what transmits sound waves into like actual water waves in your ear. And that water wave gets sent to here, and I always kind of think of the system as if like a Braille system, and it's like being tapped out in Braille, or sorry, not Braille, Morse code. So it basically gets tapped out like this onto hair cells. So the system, it should be kind of like more curved, but the hair cells are right here. So this comes down and it taps on those hair cells, and the hair cells, again, just like we saw in the ampulla system, are the sensory structures. That's what will take the message and actually put it into like sound that you understand. Okay? So here we have our tectoral membrane. If you follow that down, there's going to be a bump right there. That is the hair cell section. And then the basilar membrane is just this lining of cells on the other side. Now, it's actually just my favorite example of an organa corti, so hopefully you guys can see the board also. If you look here, the tectoral membrane really perfectly overlays this bump that are the hair cells. Okay, so with this, I would not test hair cells on this. You just really can't see them. I'll pan around in a second and see if I can't find a better example. But if you just look at the board, actually, size-wise, this is probably like a fine example, so I'll save us some time. But you want to see a nice bump right underneath that tectoral membrane to really signify and know that those are hair cells. Okay, and again, it's going to be right underneath that tectoral membrane so that the ear can actually make sound. Okay? All right, any questions? All right, so that's it for the first demo. We'll